SOP 201, podcasting for free. Good idea or not?
It's the School of Podcasting's morning announcements. Here's Dave Jackson.
All right, welcome aboard. I am your personal podcast coach, Dave Jackson, podcasting since 2005 here at the School of Podcasting.com. If you'd like to join in on the conversation, it's real easy. You can email me, Dave at schoolofpodcasting.com. You can call in your comments, courtesy of podcastvoicemail.com. That's 888-563-3228. That number again, 888-563-3228. Or you can leave a comment out at the show notes, which you can find at shownotes.schoolofpodcasting.com. This is episode number 201. And we got a question from a listener that asked about, they wanted to get into podcasting with little or no budget. And I understand that in some cases, this is you want to try before you buy. And they're asking about Podbean. Now, Podbean is a place where you can host your media files for free, kind of. I mean, it's a limited account, and you will quickly fill up the requirements there that you're allowed to do. So here's my thought about this. If you are moving into a house and you had the option of, and I understand, again, we go back to budget. If the budget is the budget, then by all means, you have no choice. You have to go with a free hosting account. I would probably, and I must say up front, I am a under contract Mevio producer. So, but you can get hosting at Mevio for free. I believe occasionally they may put an advertisement into your podcast that you would not be paid for, but you're getting free hosting. So, and you're getting stats and other things like that. So, if you need to do free, that would be my suggestion. Podbean gives you free. They give you a limited number of storage space. And here's, if we go back to moving. When you move, if you have an option of getting a starter home, you know, with maybe one bedroom and a kitchen and a bath, and that's it. And then later, your family moves again because maybe you have a baby. So you buy a bigger house with 2 bedrooms, a garage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, when you got the starter home, you really wanted the bigger house, but you couldn't afford it. Well, if you could afford it, would it make sense just to go to the home that you wanted with the garage and the more bedrooms and things of that nature? Because if you have ever moved, it's no fun. Picking up everything you own and moving it is no fun. One time I actually moved across a parking lot. I moved from one apartment to the one over there. Right? If you could just point your finger. Yeah, that one right over there. That's where I moved to. So I didn't have to buy a truck. I didn't have to do anything. I just picked up everything I had and moved it across the basic yard to this other apartment. Even that was a pain in the rear end. Okay, Dave, what does this have to do with podcasting? Moving your media, moving your RSS feed, moving your graphics, all this stuff can be a pain in the butt, especially your RSS feed. I've had clients that I've consulted with, and they've tried to move from Podbean to other accounts. In fact, many of these free accounts will do things for you where they'll list your podcast in iTunes. Don't do that. You want to control your listing in iTunes, not some other company. And likewise, so to me, my quick answer is no. I'm not a fan of any free service for one reason. In the 4 years that I've been doing this, I've seen a couple free services go out of business. So why would you build your house on the sand? And number two, there are affordable solutions. There's Libsyn.com, and there are things such as Amazon S3, which we'll probably talk about in next week's program. But to answer the original question, what do I think of free hosting services? I'm not a huge fan. Again, Mevio is free, but they're generating income through advertising. So in theory, they are getting paid for their hosting. Other companies, it's just free. And the reason they do that, like let's look at Podbean. Podbean knows that, hey, if you start podcasting, eventually you're going to run out of storage space and you're going to need more. Now, rather than go through the hassle of moving, they know you're just going to sign up and get an account with them. So what is my preferred method? Well, I get my hosting through a company called HostGator. That's for my website. And in theory, you could spend the $10 and host your website there, your blog, and your media until you got real popular. And even though it says unlimited bandwidth, if you really start hammering their server, they're going to make you move. And in that case, you would move your media to something like Libsyn or Amazon S3. So right now, this podcast that you're listening to, I'm hosted through HostGator. And if you go to schoolofpodcasting.com/HostGator, that'll take you right over there. And it's a way of supporting the show. I actually get a small commission if you sign up. And my media is on Libsyn, which is at libsyn.com. And that's how I do this particular podcast. Now, what does that cost me? That cost me $22 a month. It's more or less $10 for the hosting, and I believe it's $12 now for the media hosting. And if I do a podcast for a month or two and I decide I don't like it, I'm out $40. Okay. But I didn't have to go through the hassle of moving. It was painless. Plus I had stats. I had things of that nature, where if I go for free and, don't plan on failing. People go, well, what if nobody listens? Well, what if they do? Let's go with a positive attitude that, hey, you've got great content. You've got a unique look at something. You've got a niche market that you want to talk to. Let's go with that aspect. What if people do listen? Well, now you've got to move. So let's start with a positive attitude. Sign up, get a where you host your own WordPress, blog, and host your media either at Libsyn or some other place. That there are other places you can host, but that's where I'm using. And then you're good to go. And if you are successful, you don't have to move anything. You just keep going. So, and it's nothing against Podbean. They have a way you can sell your podcast there. It's just that once you get into that particular company, and many other companies to be, TalkShoe is another one. They do a bunch of things where they'll list your show in iTunes that I don't want. Once you get into those places, sometimes it's hard to get out. So that's my official. If you can avoid podcasting for free, another one you might look at is WordPress.com. This is where, and for the record, everybody I know that uses WordPress.com, and now what is that? That's where your website is already created. So it could be like, whatever, your website.wordpress.com. It's free. And then you can spend, I think it's like $30 a year for hosting. Now, I've had clients that have used that, and in my travels, their download speed is really slow, to where you click on a podcast to listen to it or stream it, and it takes forever to load. That's based on 2 clients, and that's why I usually don't steer people to WordPress.com. It's easy, it's very quick to set up, but again, the problem comes into play. You try it for free, and then you want to move. Well, now you've got to, and that's where FeedBurner really comes into play. If you're going to try free, sign up for free. FeedBurner is free. Put your feed in that and put your FeedBurner feed on your website. That way, if later you choose, you simply update FeedBurner and nobody knows the difference. Now, if you're like, FeedBurner feeds, what are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense. Then you need to sign up for the School of Podcasting. It's really not that hard. I realize I'm throwing out a bunch of jargon today, and I apologize for that. But we've got self-paced tutorials that'll walk you through all this stuff. We've got resources to places like FeedBurner, and if you need background music or if you need a logo design, things like that, we've got those picked out for you. As well as me, we've got tutorials live. Well, not we have tutorials. I'm sorry, I'm reading my screen here. We've got live webinars where you can sign up and talk to me live, and we'll be starting those back up now that the Thanksgiving holiday is back over. So be checking your email here soon if you're a member of the School of Podcasting. And I want to thank you very much for tuning in to the morning announcements. If you have any questions, again, you can email me, dave@schoolofpodcasting.com. You can call in your comments, 888-563-3228. Everything we talked about today is in show 201 at shownotes.schoolofpodcasting.com. Or if you're ready to start a podcast, you can go over to schoolofpodcasting.com, click on the Join Now button, and I will see you on the inside. And until then, class dismissed.